Yes, teacher and role. Essentially, the teacher, or anyone who is trying to teach, assumes a role, a position, and they try and speak in that character to teach other people what they're trying to have them learn.
So, of course, in this week we learned about the discursive positioning theory. It's by Davies and Hare in 1990, and even later than that, Holland and others in 1998.
The discursive positioning theory essentially states that you are how other people see you. It is actually kind of existentialistic in a sense, in the fact that you are who you are because of what others see you. One person might see Carrie Lynn as a teacher, another as a goofball, another as a mother, and another as a children's writer. They're all correct, but they're all different at the same time.
Assessment, which also means to gather. For this, you can ask questions, you can observe, and from your observations, you can make little notes to remind yourself. You can have a tap-in where you ask the students what they are thinking at the time. You can have a checklist where you have all these things already planned out, and you will check off when the students have completed them. You can have photos, much like as what has happened in EDUC 8P33. Photos are very good if you did not tell during this video. You can have an exit slip, and in the exit slip, what happens is the students will write down something and hand it in at the end of the day. And finally, going along with the photos, you can also have videos. Videos. I think that videos work very well.
And then, of course, you have the side of evaluation, which, of course, includes rubrics, checklists, tally charts, portfolios, performance, self, and peer feedback, just to name a few.
So, for the game Zip, Zap, Zop, what happened was we all stood in a circle, and people would say zip and pass it off to someone else. When that person was hit, they would say zap and they would pass it off to someone else. And finally, they would go to the next person who would say zop. And it would start again. If the person stumbled, much like I just did, zip, zap, ah, zop. Or if they were to say zip, zip, no matter what, if they made a mistake, they were eliminated. But very soon, Carrie took people out of the game because they were wearing socks, or they had blue eyes, or when it came to Rob Ellison, he was male. And so we did spoken word poetry, and for this one, it was basically we were given the option of create your own title, and for the first line, put down 3 verbs, and for the second line, put down I see, and after that, it was on the third line, adverb, verb, adverb, verb, and for the fourth line again, it was the title.
So for voiceover narration, or telephone, you have people assuming a role and they stand in that role and they say the same thing over and over, but in their different character voices. What happened on that day was we had a farmer, a driver, a chef, and an athlete. And they would all say the same thing, but in their different persona.
And then we did my favorite. We did movement. Again, I say movement because no matter what, you always have to be moving.
And then you have teacher and role, or just role play. And again, as has been discussed before, what happens is whoever is in role takes on the character to educate others about the topic that they're doing. And yes, later on that day we had Soundscape. And for Soundscape, essentially you just have the whole class end up making as many sounds as they can to imitate whatever they're trying to be in. And on that day, earlier it was in a barn. We could have had the soundscape in a barn, but Carrie Lynn chose to wait. And instead of in the barn, we had the soundscape in an office. Office. Go figure.
And then there was the in-role debate. Essentially, for the in-role debate, people would present their arguments and say how it was good or bad. I think it was very good. Well, you weren't there, were you? No, no. So, see, I don't think that you can talk